Hello, everybody. Welcome and thank you for joining us from all over the world. It looks like one of the biggest audiences we've had to date. So thank you all for tuning in. My name is John Edelman. I'll be the moderator of the talk today. I'm the executive chairman of Krypton Superfabrics, co-founder of Fourth and Pride Vodka, former DWR CEO, where I got to work with these lovely people for years and show their products to the United States. And most importantly, Be Original America's ambassador. Today, who's better to talk about creativity than the designer Jaime Hayon and the nanimarquina crew. They've developed two amazing collections together. We're going to discuss the origins and the process to create those collections. We'll be discussing how they both get inspiration, how they work together, and how the current situation in the world has changed their creative process. I'd like to introduce our panel. Jaime Hayon, Spanish artist, designer, based in Valencia, Spain. After founding Hayon Studio in 2001, his wide client base has spanned diverse functions and mediums, including furniture, lighting, objects, and interiors. As well as in Valencia, Spain, they have offices in Barcelona and Treviso, Italy. Nanimarquina. Nani is a designer and founder of Nanimarquina, the company she founded 34 years ago. Nani works with some of the best artisans in Nepal, India, and Pakistan with a shared respect for tradition and the environment. Since 2000, Nanimarquina annually grants a portion of their sales to the Kala Project, which is launched as part of their collaboration with Care and Fair Association. This was developed to ensure that the families of weavers in India and Pakistan have access to education. Hopefully we'll post a link on the chat for everyone if they want to donate, and we can all look at that after. Maria Piera Marquina. Maria is Nani's daughter, joined the company in 2001. Maria has boosted its international growth, which now has over 400 points of sale worldwide. She now serves as its CEO, and from experience in my life, being the CEO of your mother's company is not the easiest thing in the world. I did it for a long time, but you guys look like you're doing amazingly well together. So I think with that, we're going to show a short video and then go right to the questions.
El proceso en realidad del dibujo para mí es, bueno, es mi alma, es como que trabajo de una forma muy intuitiva. En mis dibujos siempre hay capas, entonces tienes como mundos y submundos, se entrelazan las líneas y uno ve una capa o ve otra y eso hace parte de que la imaginación no termina en el autor, sino que también sigue. La silueta es casi lo más primitivo y creo que es un gesto también a la historia del origen del dibujo y del origen de la mínima expresión narrativa.
El trazo simple con que se expresa Jaime nos ha permitido utilizar la técnica del bordado en una superficie de un kili. Silhouette la hemos editado también para exterior con una fibra reciclada, consiguiendo la máxima calidez.
Yo desde que conocí a Nani siempre hubo química. Trabajar con gente que te gusta, que te lleva a descubrir más, tiene que ser algo que nos apasione, que nos lleve a un camino nuevo y que los dos descubramos algo.
Before we get going, I want to tell you all what a huge fan I am of all of you. You know, and I've never been a designer, and I can't design, but I've been able to work with designers and promote all of your work. So it's been an honor over the years to show your work in the United States and to let people have the opportunity to buy it. So before we get going, I just wanted to say that and say thank you. Okay, the first question here goes to Nani and Jaime. As you are both designers, walk us through your creative process when designing a new piece. I know it's a very broad question and it could take the entire time, but in general, you know, the first part of the creative process.
Nani, you want to start with that?
No.
I start with that.
Good luck.
Okay.
I start because I say very short.
No, well, thank you very much for the introduction. Yeah, well, I guess the most important for at least for me, when I start designing a piece, it's definitely to start to understand who do I have in front. Yeah, like I mean, with who I'm working with. I think that's a really important it's a really important key part of starting the creative process. Then obviously I want to make sure I can be free, because I love this sort of freedom in which you can just experiment and test things and try things. And for me, design is like cooking. So I try to find ingredients that I find inspiration with. And sometimes they don't have any relevance. They don't have any coherence, at the beginning. It's kind of like you're sort of lost. And I love this moment in which like everything is very, very not coherent. And then you put it together and start to experiment by mixing up these ideas and these thoughts and these inspirations and these notions and materials. And then the project starts. That's when the passion of the project starts. Like for me, a project starts with this idea of being a bit lost and trying to find little by little the way to what we want to say. There should be narrative. There should be a story behind. So I'm trying to find that story first of all, and then I try to make a shape out of that, and and obviously an object that would work. That's how I start actually. So that's my way. Yeah,
I love it. Nani?
Yeah.
Well, for me, it's difficult to do answer after Jaime, because Jaime is very intensive. But for me, there are two ways. No, first, I am always thinking about an innovative project. When I have idea, I share it with my design team, and we develop it and know if it's possible or not is possible, because sometimes it's not is possible because it's a lot omnivate. Sometimes we dedicate a lot of time for this kind of the projects, because we need to investigate in handicraft process and also on fibers and materials, because it's we have the open mind, because we need to work in a lot about that. And second, there are another part, because I want to observe to observe and listen the market. I listen the sales team, because they are very close to the market. I want to know what they want or what they're looking for. Because they are very close to the market, they have the inputs. But for example, now with Maria, working together on a project, this kind of the concept, because we're working about the contract line, a new contract line, to be more close to the market. Because in this case, for me, there are two different brands or heads. This is more or less my way to create or to work in the design.
I love it. I think right now, the difference between contract and residential is narrowing so much. It's an ideal time for you because it's blurred. We don't even know where people are going to work. I think contract might be their living room going forward, because everybody's scared to go back to the office.
The pandemic, no? It's one of the positive aspects. That I think that we have reoriented what's residential, what's working as a workspace, or what
exactly, and where the offices are. When you have an office in a major city, it looks one way. When it's 2 hours outside in a field, even though it's an office, the vibe is different, right? So it leans more towards this next level of creativity.
Definitely.
This is a question to all three of you. And I'll read it as it is, and we'll play with it. Creativity. Why is it especially important in these times that we are living? And that's kind of what we're leading right into.
You respond.
Well, they froze for a second. They froze for a second.
Should I respond then for now?
Totally, yeah, because it's hard to do it when you're like this,
I know. I don't know what happened.
It's you and me, baby.
Okay, good. Yeah. Okay, it's over me then. No, I would say I think creativity is actually the most important thing there is. Actually, to be honest, I don't want to. It's not because I'm a creative. I say that. I would say that to my brother, which is in banking, and I would say that to everyone. I think without the creativity, without the the idea of looking at the world with a different angle, it's really hard to actually innovate and go ahead with passion and new thoughts. And to me, creativity has always been something that it's needed in any kind of discipline. I always say to everyone, hey, you know what, you don't need to draw, you don't need to know. And some people associate creativity to something like like painting, drawing. You don't need that, right? Welcome back. So I'm responding about creativity. Yeah. So I'm doing,
This is too much for me, because for me it's very difficult to speak English. In this case,
yeah.
No, we love it. I'll ask the
don't worry.
question
You do it
slower
well.
too.
Yeah,
okay.
You do it.
Yeah. I say that a lot of doubts about the future. I think it's necessary to help anticipate and to be intuitive in this future. For me, that is a little bit creativity. For me, the creativity is news, imagine a new things. And the news are the things we need now and the future, because we need to thinking about the future. The pandemic has changed a lot our lives and our needs, and our creativity has to be there meet this news. I also thinking all of us our creativity inside us, or has creativity inside us, can make us feel more alive. This is my feeling. It's creativity is good for life. Very, very good, very nice.
I love that. Has there been a change to? I'm sorry.
Did Jaime respond, because we were out of the screen?
I
was actually, I was responding that. Yeah, but you sort of say the same, I
just said creativity is not important, and he's not passionate about it.
Exactly. Yeah, we don't care about it. It's better to do something else.
In those 2 minutes, he's changed.
Too much creativity going on here.
Has there been a change? And this is again for all of you. Has there been a change to the creative process during the pandemic?
You respond. Go. You do it first now.
Okay. Actually, I am a little bit more creative than in the past. Creative, creative, because I work from more from home, and for me this is better. I think my life is less chaotic, because I am very chaotic, and in this moment I am less chaotic. But for the brand, we thinking, and we have a more focus about the sustainability. We are very worried for the climate problem. And for example, now we are working about the project of the circular economy, and the recycled fibers. This is our focus in this moment.
Excellent.
Yeah. Well, for me, yeah. I mean, I'm a person that I like to work directly with the artisans, and work with, as an artist and as a designer. The last 20 years, what I've done, with my practice, is just going around and discovering things. And I've realized that the project is not just on the table doing the drawings and doing the, working with my team and doing prototypes. No. It is to work directly with the artisans, and to mistake, and to discuss, and to see what they've never done. So, you can imagine that with this pandemic, we've been home a lot, and it's been very, very different. I've actually, what I discovered, it's really, really simple. I discovered well, I discovered just my neighborhood because I actually go around the world all the time. So I've realized there's some good bars around and some nice people, because I've never seen them. So that's the first thing I discovered. I discovered what there is in nearby by me, and also the artisans and also the things that I have nearby. But the most important is that I discovered that we waste a lot of time with the cell phones and with and traveling too much. And I never knew why we had a cell phone with connection and all that. But now I discover why, because we can do these talks and we can work and we can actually discuss a lot of things and getting to the point of the matter. Even the most complex things can be achieved. I mean, I've made a park, which is fantastic in Korea in the middle of the pandemic. It's about 4,000 square meters for kids and a museum for kids and everything. And it's super complex. I've done it online. I've never been there. I mean, I've seen it in the Instagram. I've seen a lot of people visiting. Actually, it's been more than visited by almost like 300, well, a lot of people anyway. I don't know the numbers exactly, but a lot of people. And I haven't been there. And it's like, it's possible to do, what I've realized is like, it's possible to do a lot of things, finally, I know why technology is for, why it exists, indeed. Yeah. And this is, but it's really hard. The process is different, but we use our cameras to get information. We use our videos to see things, materials, and you can achieve a lot, with the years of experience. It's very interesting, actually. I think it's a very interesting moment, but I would not, I would not like these to be too long because I love the human fact, the human touch of things, the mistakes, the discussions you have in the factories and places, because your creativity just gets more sophisticated when you're there. Yeah. So that's the point. Yeah. I think
you think you'll go back to the same rate of travel
I have to go back or even more, because what I've realized is like, it's so beautiful to go back to discover things. And, it's full of secrets. It's like, even though we have a lot of resources, computers, things that can do things, at the end of the day, it's the face-to-face to the person that knows very much what they do, which is getting the project into somewhere else, into a level which is very high, because it's about visuals, it's about the shadows the product creates, it's about the real color, it's about the tactility. There's a lot of things we cannot see. The cell phone and the computers, when we see things right now, it's just visual. It's just 2D. We don't really realize what it's the other aspects of it. And creativity is full of senses, even emotions. It just gets into your heart as well. You can love an object. You can be in love with it. And you don't get in love so easy if you just visualize it. It has to be something you touch, you feel, you see. There's a lot of things about it. Yeah. So that's an important point for me.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, when you touch something, it just changes everything. It's a different experience.
Totally. And the weight and everything and what it means. And, there's a lot of things and the talk about it, yeah. I miss that, and I like that, yeah.
Sure. I miss it too. Yeah. I miss it too.
Indeed. Yeah.
Maria, excuse me.
John, I would like to add that on a business perspective, for us, it was, for all the companies, it was, the situation was so insolid that we had to reinvent and to reprogram, and we had to formulate it was like a starting point. So obviously there is creativity after the pandemic, because we had to rethink and to redesign all the processes, not only working from home, which was also difficult, but also we used to design in the looms, no? So for us, the fact of not visiting the looms was dramatically at the first sight, but then we realized that we could do it through the webcam and whatever. So as Jaime said, technology really helped us, but it's true that we miss this personal feeling, no? When you go with a customer or you meet someone. So I think that the values, the pandemic will change the values and the timelines also, no?
Yeah, no question. Maria, do you think, was it, if you had to started your job virtually versus always being in the office, do you think you still could have created the same corporate culture? And do you think that the corporate culture is taking a hit during this time?
I think it's totally different, no? I have learned different values and different ways of managing the company. I think we have to be more flexible, more adaptive, faster. We have to move faster. So I think that it's like changing your brain, as we said before, because it's like a different wall, a different way. And now the values are different, no? Not only from the people that for the workers, but also for the customers, for the press, for everyone. So we have to try to readapt. I think that's the word, to readapt.
Excellent. And then this was originally from Maria, but I think this can go to everybody. It's really a Be Original America's question. Do creativity and originality go hand in hand? And how do you protect it other than being a member of Be Original Americas? And I think it's a huge thing in our lives, this fight for authenticity, and you guys have to protect what you've done. So how does that work?
Wow. This is really crazy because I just came back from Thailand and my clients just brought me to a place and I was like, oh, that's like my lamp, but it's not the real one. And that's like my chair, but it's not the real one. It's like, it happened a lot of times. And I was like, I don't know how to deal with these because it's like, it's everywhere, like everyone, there's a lot of, people copying things, which I never would understand, It's really hard to let people understand that it's really important, to keep the originality and to keep the original work. It's really important. It's like you're sort of stealing, right? It's really stealing something. The most fun part of this is like, this is the best thing. Like, I made a lamp in Barcelona. It was like, it was a big success a few years ago. It's almost about 15 years ago that I made it. And the funny thing is like, it's been copied all over. But the best thing is like, I discussed with the owners a lot of times versions of it, like smaller, longer, but I've seen the copies like that. So even those guys, they made the prototypes for me.
Inspiration from some of those.
Yeah, I was like, wow, they're copying even new versions of it, which is I'm freaking out with it. But anyway, the point is that it's so important to keep it original. It's so important to understand that without that, creativity will die. It's like, copying is not a good thing for creativity. Creativity needs to be original always, always. It could be an inspiration of, but it cannot be a copy. A copy is a ugly thing. It doesn't work. Yeah. So that's
Maria. How do you fight? How do you fight the copies? So what processes do you employ?
Well,
employ.
When a product of our company is copied, it's weird because we feel happy. I mean, if a product is copied, means that this is a big success, no? So, happy. I shouldn't say that happy, but it means that the product is an excellent product. So we try to see it in the other way, and we try to understand that this is a great design. So sometimes, what we do and the way of fighting is mainly by creating the brand awareness and by participating with associations that communicate about originality, like Be Originals or other companies. But at the end, we don't go to the tribunals, and we don't want to. I mean, it's like a fight that we do in another way, no? Trying to promote the brand, trying to communicate, and that's the only way we can do it. Because especially with rugs, there are no barriers because it's a handcrafted product, so it's very easy to copy. And we deal with this, and we live with this. I mean, it's like learn how to live. And in the Marquina's family, I don't know if you are familiar with the oil cruet, but in Nani's house and my grandfather, they designed one of the most iconic design piece in Spain, and it has been copied all over. So, and it's from the 1960s. So in the family, we are really surrounded about this, and for us, it's
very copied. Exactly.
I mean, and even my friend, everyone has copies of this, and we deal with this very good. So it's very strange, but my grandfather was collecting the copies, and because he said, what I would really expect is that at least a copy improves something about the design, no? And of course,
exactly, improve something. Yeah.
But never. So that's good also, because then you see that it's, yes, exactly. Jaime, thank you. Thank you. So,
Thank you.
So we keep the traditions, and we are also, we live with copies, and we.
Yeah, it's very hard.
Yeah, fair enough. So we believe, we have to attack, because you guys have an established brand name. You guys have done such a beautiful job marketing. Jaime, you're world famous as well, and some people aren't. And I feel bad for the struggling designer that puts out a new chair and it's become successful, and then it gets copied and there's no money to make the next design, right? Because Jaime, you said it before, like with copies, it can easily ruin design and kill the future. So one of the things we try to do is fight copy so we can afford to make the next mistake. I always talk about how expensive it is to be right. You have to be wrong 20 times. And then finally you can be right, and the right is usually big enough to cover it. But that's the fight. So for Nani and Jaime, and I guess for all of you, this is the second time you guys are working together.
Yeah.
We refer to rugs as a canvas, right? I mean, compared to a chair, I guess the freedom is pretty amazing, right? You can there's no fit, there's no things like that. You can really be creative. How do you guys work together, and how do you guys work creatively together?
You start. Te toca.
With Jaime is always great. It's true. That is true. Jaime is first for me is an artist. Is a hard worker. Is a very good designer. For me, it's very easy to work with him. I will love to always have a project on Jaime in my table.
Good.
Always.
I will start one now. Don't worry. I will do one now.
But also both racks. The two racks we make with Jaime, there are a bestseller. I say, Jaime, very good. Thank you, very good.
Well, that's good.
Jaime has a particularity because Jaime has he is own style about is also very adapting to a style of nanimarquina. His style is a little bit different than ours, but together, I thinking we create a very special feelings.
Nice. I agree. I love it.
There's an expression in Spanish which is caballo ganador.
Caballo ganador.
With Jaime, we have caballo ganador.
That's good.
I don't know how to translate. It means that caballo is like
it's like the winner. The horse, the winner, the horse winner. When you, it's like exactly that. The caballo is a horse in Spanish. Well, that's good.
Jaime, it's
but it's not always like that. Eh? It's not always like that.
It has been here.
No, I mean it's like for me if I can respond, I would say, for me, I always like the work of Nani and the work that we're doing in the company, and and I sometimes look at very far away the work of other people I admire, like I see people, how they're doing their job and everything. And I remember looking at the work of nanimarquina, and I was like, wow, this looks really cool. But I was not sure when I knew that we were going to work together someday, but I didn't know when, and when it happened, it was very natural. I must say that, I'm really proud to say that I work with people I really love, and this is like the case, creativity. We were talking about creativity as the first question. And one of the key points of creativity is feeling comfortable, not having to demonstrate anything, just proposing things with no fear, with no problem to say, hey, this might work. This might not work. I remember the first collections, maybe I put too much color or too many things, or I didn't understand how a rug was working, because a rug is an object. You walk on top of it, you have it in a room, and you're walking 360 degrees around it. So it cannot have a drawing, which is actually one way. If we look at the screen right now, I don't know if people can see it, but you can see, for example, our rug, with the silhouettes. It's actually meant to be a line, which actually you're going around and you start to see faces while you're walking around. So you're discovering the drawing around. So the idea is that, without that, talk with Nani's team and her, it would have been impossible for me to understand, hey, a rug is actually not a canvas, as you were saying before. It is in a way, but it's not. It is also about tactility, about materiality. It's also about the feeling it gives you when your kids are sitting down on it and, you're watching TV and you're on it. It's like, it has to be cool, has to be nice to touch. There's a lot of key points. But for me, the most important of the work, we've done together is that we've done it in a free way, and we've done it in a way that it's real. Creativity, it's real because creativity doesn't need to demonstrate anything. It's just like, hey, I drop you this thing. Do you like it? Oh, maybe I will change that. Okay, let's do it. It's conversation. Creativity is about conversation. It's conversation. It's about cooking. Aren't you saying put more salt? No, oh, that tastes really weird. Like put a little bit of that onion, it would work. It's the same. So we've worked it out this way. I think that's why things work. Every day after 20 years of career, I realized things work when you discuss with an open mind, to it. And you understand who's selling it, you understand who's buying it, you understand who's producing it, that's it. And of course you cannot be just yourself. It cannot be only Jaime. It has to be Jaime and Nani. So I need to understand what are they good at, what can they improve out of my style. How can my style be a little bit more them? How can their style be a little bit more me? So that's the mix, yeah? I believe in that today more than ever. And I think that's the way I want to work in the future. It's only with friends, only with people that understands creativity. And that's it. No need brands, bigger, nothing. No, the most important is have fun, enjoy it. And then the product will be a horse winner. Yeah, caballo.
I couldn't agree more. We had a rule at Design Within Reach where we wouldn't work with people that weren't like friendly. And
exactly.
the way you describe the collaboration, where you describe the knowing the needs of the market, people forget that. And and it's just incredible. Just a quick question that before we go, I think to the audience questions.
Yeah.
How do you know when you're done? So you're working together. You had this amazing, completely fresh design. It could be anything in the world. And at some point you have to say, okay, this looks great. Yeah. How do you do that? Like, what is that? Do you dream it? Do you wake up in the morning knowing? Does it?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's pretty hard, right? Like, it just happens,
It just happens, right? You just know.
I think when the deadline comes over, it's also like a deadline thing. It's kind of like, hey, you know what? We have to introduce this in April. Shit, it's like now. So we need to do the photos. It works. And also the rugs, I think they have a good thing about it is that you can also eventually, you can get a version there, and eventually you can get a new version, in the future. It doesn't look weird if you do that, I think, but nevertheless, I think there's a point in which you're kind of sure that this is what we want to have, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. There's a point in which we agree.
Yeah. I mean, for Nani, you must be doing it, with the rugs 24/7, all the time, designing in your mind, or even redesigning. It must be overwhelming.
Yeah, 34 years, 24 hours, only thinking about rugs. That's what
very hard.
Our sales speech when we go to sell. We only think about rugs from the morning till the night.
It's our life.
Hallelujah. That's why it's so fantastic.
All right. The rugs is one of the most ancient objects. If we see in the prehistoric civilizations, the first thing they did was to define the space and the houses with rugs, and they didn't have chairs, TVs, or anything. I mean,
sure, and they were traded. They were used as currency. Rugs were, very important in society. All right, I'm going to go to the questions from our huge audience here. Number one, hello, my name is Laia, and I am from Barcelona. I'm a huge fan of both of you. I'm going to say all three of you, and I'm an interior designer with a strong artistic sense, and I consider myself an artistic mind. Although your success in Spain, how do you find the public response to designers' artist pieces? I'm working right now in a project where I will be able to put a lovely rug from Marquina, and I really value what's behind it. But I feel sad because somehow I still feel after lots of years that people still don't value the artistic approach in Spain. And I find myself explaining what an interior designer does. Do you feel yourself and your colleagues valued? Thanks a lot for your energy, values, and creativity. Long question.
No question. Like, Nani, ¿respondo yo? ¿Qué estás de interior design? ¿O quieres responder tú? You respond?
I guess it's about Spain, yeah.
So I start? I think okay. So you know, I don't know. I think I mean, that question is probably like she's trying to find the values in the people that are like looking at her work, I guess, you know. But I think it's hard. I mean, you know, as interior designers, as designers, as an artist, you know, it is really important to be a communicator in a way. Yeah, like the project is also about having someone in front that has the passion of understanding these. You know, you need to also teach them in a way and get them excited about it. It's all about that, actually. I think it's like, if you believe on it for real, if you really do believe on it, and you show them like your passion under their project, that you really trust, you know, that you really trust them, and you really want to do something really special for them, you know, and you make them be part of it, I think everyone will definitely, you know, appreciate what you're doing. If it doesn't matter where you are, you know, it's just a teaching process. Obviously, some people will know more than others. I mean, it's not the same to be in Denmark, which everyone knows about furniture, and to be in Spain, that maybe they don't know as much as they do in Denmark. Yeah, it doesn't mean they're knowing every day more, but maybe they don't know as much. Yeah, they might know more about wine. Yeah, so you know, the point is that, you know, it's all about a teaching process and getting them passionate about it and teaching them that this is unique, that this is special, that this is original, that this is this. And this way things get, you start to get more appreciation, you know. Also, I would say, if you have somebody that doesn't really understand what you're doing, then what are you doing? You know, just go and change, because it is important to have somebody that trusts you and understands, or at least it's open-minded to understand. Yeah. So this is my advice to someone that is an interior designer that is trying to be appreciated in their country, in their place. You know, I would say that's the key point to start, you know. It's my way to see it.
Yeah, fantastic.
With you, Jaime, I am totally.
See, no,
You're
because,
fine.
you know, it's like, how do you do it? You know,
Right. No, I get it. It's hard in your home country when you're appreciated more outside. I understand the question. So here, my question is, this is the next question. My question is for Nani Marquina and Maria Piera. Can you tell us how you make a brand expand as much as you did through the years? How did you start, and what were the essential steps in the process of expansion of your brand? Now that could be like 5 hours, so I have to do that in a shorter version.
Well, I mean, since the beginning, Nani was really pushing on the communication side of the company, on creating a brand. But it's true that it's a daily job. I mean, it's not like a magic. I mean, it's only keep trying to do any single thing the best you can, try to be surrounded from the best professionals, and that's all. I mean, and trying to invest, of course, we have to invest and reinvest, but at the end it's every day trying to make things well and trying to be very coherent. No, I mean, I think this is very important. When you communicate something, we have to be coherent in all our surroundings, no? So it's, I think that's maybe one of the key points or the clues or how to make it. But of course, we could go deep on that, but I think that's our
but so I'm sitting here in Connecticut, so far away from you, and yet everybody around me knows your company, loves you. How did you get the message to here? How do you get the message out? I mean, you're doing the right things, but how do you share that with people?
I have to say that we are so proud when we hear that everybody knows the company, because we don't know. It's just, I mean, it's a familiar company. We are only 30 people here in Barcelona. Also, we have a team in the US, but it's true that it's super, I mean, it's super happy for us, no? To think that the brand,
nice.
Because we don't know that. So I think we have a lot to do, because I think we have to grow the company and to follow the brand awareness, because right now we still have to.
But I'm assuming you're using social media, you're on Instagram and pushing those kinds of things, right?
Yes, we try to do the best we can. Our team and that's all, no?
But this is, for us, it's important to be the family company, because Maria and me working together, but in the different
areas.
No, different
places,
different places. But we're working together, but the different views, no? But this is the successful for us, because we join
And
our
we
energies.
And we fight
The
a lot.
difference.
Also, we fight. I mean, it's not so easy. We have a lot of discrepancies. But
It's very good to work with only a part of the company, for example, the design, when there's another situations, Nani, Maria working in another part. For me, this is very good because I can to imagine, I can to be more creative, because Maria, it close to me, but in another different part of the company, with the cell and
the boring area is me.
But she liked it. She liked my part or my role.
Perfect.
Different roles, no?
Yeah, I love that. You have to have different roles. I think no matter who's in a company, family or not, defining your roles is important. Jaime, this is a question for you. When you design a certain project, do you think about how it could be made, or you're focused only on the idea and later you think how you'll make it real?
Well, at the beginning, I'm like I said that before. Like at the beginning, I'm really free. You know, I don't want to. I don't want to think about how's it going to be made. I mean, some people start with the fact that they find a material which is fantastic, and they go, "Wow, I'm going to make something out of these materials." So they already know how they're going to make it, or out of that technique. Some people are very technical, so they start with a technique. Yeah. Me, I start with the idea of like, let's be free. Let's. I actually anticipate a lot of times, what I'm kind of drawing a lot, and then I say, wow, this could be something, and maybe when the opportunity comes, I just kind of go to that sketch and say, hey, maybe this could be made in this way, so I'm pretty much doing a lot of things, and then I start to see what are the partners to make these possible. But obviously I'm also a very technical person. I'm very artistic. Obviously that's my core is like, hey, freestyle, let's have fun with it, and I just work free. And but then it's really important for me that I have a technical background, so I can understand how to make things, and actually in a pretty high level actually by now, because I've experimented a lot of things, a lot of materials with wonderful companies. I would say probably the best ones there are, within the design world. I've worked with the best ones in Denmark and the best ones in Germany and in Japan. And you start to be a pro yourself and understand, how porcelain works in Japan and how it works in Spain and how furniture works in this place and the other. So you start to know how to do the things. But for me, it's really important to have a very, very cool idea, which has a narrative, which has a story behind, and which is like provoking a certain type of feeling. And then we go and say, okay, we have it. Let's produce it. Let's try to make the best out of it. And let's also make it very nice and elegant and beautiful and lasting. So there's all these kind of things, but that's after. Let's dream first. Let's do the boring part after.
which is where the partnership comes in. Someone that actually wants to execute your dream. Because I think it's very easy when something looks different to say no, or something hasn't been done before to say no. So I think you choose your partners by who has the ability and I think the passion to execute.
Exactly. And so many times when you have a really good partner, which has done a lot of years of career, like Nani, so many years, so many experiences, so many knowledge. Yeah. I think it's also interesting to hear what they had to say, because it's like you're open to something that they maybe dreamed about or they have in the background, which is interesting. And I think this is why dialogue is really important. And it doesn't matter what you do, what kind of project you do. It's really important to hear what's that the experts know about. Today, this is a really important key point, especially to our audience, because there's a lot of creative people out there probably hearing us. But I would say there's a lot of people that want to be their own producers. There's a lot of people that want to create and produce. But I would say to those people, bravo, great, do it. But I'm a ceramist myself. I can do my ceramics, but I've always went further because you can learn a lot by also sharing your ideas with other people. And I think so. I believe in the idea that design should be something you create and you will actually work together with someone to make it into something really high end, really special. Yeah. So this is my belief. Yeah. Now, everyone is open to do whatever they want. But I believe in that because it enriches your life every day. It goes, I know how to do ceramics, but then I work with a crystal manufacturer, which is amazing, or the one doing the rock like Nani, which can make it into a perfection. I would never make it that way. Yeah. Alone. So partnership
that's rare. That's rare for two designers to work, that well together. And I love that, I think it is rare. Guys, I have a question here. I'm going to do this one because it's from Miami. Hello, my name is, not me, Isabel Durego. I'm an interior designer in Miami. I'm currently doing a master in sustainability, but I wanted to know, what is your approach to meet sustainable projects? Also, are any of you planning to come to Miami in the near future? I think she's about to, buy you a cocktail, but it's a good question
That's good.
for everyone.
I think you can start, Nani. You guys can start with it.
It's so important today.
At this moment, we're working in a very interesting project because our suppliers in their factory, they have a lot to rest of the
Leftovers.
The fibers, the different kinds of the vegetable fibers on the wool of the difference, and there are maybe a very big space. There are fibers on the top and hasta el techo, ¿no? When we see that, say we need to recuperate that, and we're working with a crate with these fibers, a new fiber with a very traditional technique, and to mix these fibers and to combine that with rags. This is one, but there we invest in the wool, the different possibilities to make with new fibers that we look for. There are another factories to produce or to recuperate this kind of fibers. For example, fibers of the pet, or maybe nets, or different. We have in the table a lot of the projects of this for fine
sustainable.
Very good sustainable idea, but we're working in this moment is very interesting. We started very few months, no?
And Jaime, are you in, like, is that a criteria for you in design, no matter what you're designing, or how do you go about sustainability?
I mean, like, to talk about sustainability today with the design work is like number one. I mean, like all the companies that I work with, it's like that's the key point on everything, from the packaging to everything. I mean, especially I work a lot in the Scandinavia, so it's like crazy. They're actually inventing things that you've never seen. It's going to levels beyond. But my natural approach to sustainability is using natural materials. That's what I've done from the beginning of my career. It's like I use materials you can find in any Roman museum. Like materials that were there 2,000 years ago is what I use. I don't use like very complex and strange materials cannot be out of the earth. Like put out of the earth. So I use crystal, I use ceramics, I use things that come from earth and will die in earth. So that's the way to me to be most sustainable of everything. Yeah. That's the way I try to work with. But obviously, when we work with companies that use upholstery or furniture, there's a lot of elements like glue, like things you use for upholstery, which need to be now, there's a lot of techniques right now in which they're trying to use like very, very, very sustainable materials that can be recyclable, and things that you think that they would never be recyclable, they are actually. There's incredible progress around that. And I think that's number one today. I mean, any company that today it's working on the design world in the high level, it's actually been extremely, extremely high and in the sustainability of everything. So I think that's almost like unquestionable today, at least in Europe and in America. I think at least in Europe, it's like a key point. It's impossible. Everything needs to be certified on every level. So it's very high, But my way is the one I told you. It's like use materials from the earth. And that's it. Don't get really complicated.
I think that works. I think it works for food. You always mention cooking and all these different things. I think you're
but it does. I mean, at the end, I love materials that decay properly in the earth. This is why I use ceramics, porcelain, crystal. Things that are coming from the earth that would die in the earth. They would disappear because they're part of it. So I see a lot of people using a lot of composite materials, complicated ones that might have a complication, in terms of disappearing from the planet, but I'm not doing that. So, I'm happy about my vision.
I'm happy too. Yes, Nani?
Sorry, our rugs, there are in the end the sustainability, because you use wool, use vegetable fibers. You will,
Exactly. Yeah.
there are problem with the dyes, but now we will use we're working for use vegetables dyes, no?
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
but I think also, I'm sorry, Maria, but I think
sorry,
I think
no,
also for you guys, but your rugs, they last forever. So like that's another strong thing. When something lasts for, I don't know, 100 years, I don't know. I think that's also a form of sustainability.
rag, I mean, it's an endless product. So it's no, the life cycle of the rag can be 100 years. And also the process of manufacturing, because all of our products are handmade. So we think that by producing with handmade techniques, we make the knowledge of the weavers to extend through the years. So for us, that's sustainability also, no? Because
Absolutely, yeah.
we don't maintain the culture of weaving. These people will disappear, and the new generations will not know how to make.
This is sustainability.
Human sustainability.
Yes, which is important. Guys, I'm going to combine two questions here. This is hi from London. I love your work and thank you for this talk. As a fellow creative, fashion, my brain never stops. Does yours ever take a break? And if it does, how do you achieve that? From Stefanos. And the other question just combined is, well, they deleted it. It was how do you relax? But it's the same thing. You know, how do you achieve that moment where you get to reflect or meditate?
Wow. You want to respond first? You go first.
I never relaxing because
You never relax. Wow.
Working.
You're always thinking.
I am relaxing when I go to the bed.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Not even. She's probably dreaming about the new rocks.
No, because not working, but thinking. But it's my passion. I started in 30 years ago. Is my life. The nanimarquina is it's my blood.
My blood. Wow, that's really passionate. That's my blood. Yeah. Good. Well, should I respond to that? You know, we have time.
Unless
right?
you want to like show us some blood, but
No, like no. For me, it's like yeah. Well, you need to relax. Definitely. Me, I'm like a radio. Yeah, I'm like a radio. Like I go clink, and then I start to work, and then it's like ding, and then it's for kids, only kids, and then clink, and then it's sports. You know, so this is like me. I'm like a radio. So that's the way I do things. It's kind of like the you know, I try to think. Obviously, creativity is always there because creativity is unexpected. You know, you never know when an idea can click on you, you know. For example, I keep looking at your snake on the left and I keep looking at the rock behind Nani's and I don't know what I'm going to do with it. But, you know, sometimes come up. But, you know, the fact is that you never stop thinking because creativity is part of, you know, creativity is just a vision. It's like looking through a third eye. So it's really hard to relax, obviously. I mean, relaxing, you know, one thing, and creativity is in your mind. I don't think it's in your body, actually. So your body can relax, but your mind not. Let's put it that way.
I get it.
Yeah.
So with that mindset, which I think relates to the next question, how do you encourage young design students to see design in everything or in their experiences?
Wow. So how you encourage them like to do what? To see or to
open their eyes, right?
To open their eyes.
Yeah. Whatever they're doing, everything is designed, you know. So how do you teach them that? And you know, you're from Europe, and it's much easier to the architecture is so inspiring. We're almost wherever you are, right? You're constantly inspired. How do you get other people to understand that designing is everything?
You guys want to start?
I think that you cannot teach that. I mean, it's unteachable, no? I mean, it's
about sensitivity, right? So you need to make them sensitive to beauty.
Exactly, sensitivity.
Only the ways to show our work. It depends. They choose that or no. it's
It's
difficult.
sensitivity. I mean, it's the way you
Yeah,
look.
it's difficult because it's like, yeah, it's like appreciating good wine. Yeah, like I mean, if you try first time, you don't know it, but if you try a lot of them, then you will definitely get the right one. But I think, you know, I would tell you something better to say to those students, you know, which I think it's better for me. And I'm a teacher once in a while, yeah, like not all the time, but I try to teach at least you know, once or twice a year, yeah. So what I always try to say to the students is that we're in a world in which there's a lot of images and a lot of things and a lot of information. Especially now, it's really hard to actually remember something because there's too many things. Yeah. So to remember something, you actually, I don't know what you have to do. You know, it's very complicated. So I would say that those students, those young generations, are very contaminated by a lot of information. And my best advice is just to try to do one thing that they believe and try to make that thing their own, you know, which it doesn't have any influence of anything. It's just themselves for once, you know, try to be sincere to yourself. Creativity is also about that, you know, and especially the only way to succeed is to try to go to the uniqueness of yourself. Everyone is unique. You know, we born unique. So let's try to keep that unicity while we create, you know, which is don't get contaminated. Try to think for once to do one thing. It doesn't need to be two, just one. But one that it speaks your language, that it speaks your own. It doesn't matter if it's ugly or it's different or nobody understands it. Who cares? But do it your way. That's my advice. One, only one, try it because that's the only way. You know, if you don't try that, you will never know, you know, what's going on. But we're submitted to too many discussions, too many things, too many people telling us things, too many things around us, too much contamination. You know, get clean. Yeah, maybe that's the way.
Yeah.
You know, that's my advice.
I get it.
I would say
I
that's
get it. I
good
think
for
if you
them.
had, I also think if you teach a design student to see design and everything, maybe they're in the wrong profession. Because every designer I've worked with, they can't help it. It's I don't know how it's absorbing all the time, 24/7. You know,
It's a
good
lot going
design,
on.
bad design, ugly design, beautiful design. It's all design. Some are designed by
Exactly.
God, designed by people. Everything's got a design.
Yeah.
We have one final question. It's going to go to Jaime, and it's from Valencia.
Okay.
In which discipline do you most enjoy working and why? And I know the answer is rugs, but for the
Exactly. Right.
no, but in a fair question.
Well, you know, like me, I have this luck to be going from one discipline to another. So, you know, for me, they're all important actually, you know, because I've always been a defender of not classifying myself to anything. And I think that's very contemporary, but I didn't invent anything because it was like that, you know, in the Renaissance, and it was like that before, you know, I mean, artists and creative people have always changed disciplines, have always made a lot of things. We're able to do a lot of things. You know, if you have a style, you have a way to look at things, you can create anything. You know, I don't think there's a limit. So I enjoy everything I do. I think they're little, you know, for me, they're little kids, you know, they're little creations. You know, I learn from one and one gives me to the other. You know, if I make something for Nani, you know, I might learn something for my next painting I would do, or, you know, maybe for my next, you know, chair I would create. So everything is connected. So my response is that I enjoy everything I create, you know, very much. Yeah.
I expected that. Guys, I'm sorry we have to go. I loved every second. I want to have dinner with all of you, either in New York or in Spain or in Milan or anywhere. Let's make that a promise. Beth will help make that happen. I want to thank Be Original Americas for making this happen. And I want you all to look at supporting Be Original Americas because we do fight for authentic design. I'm sure in the chat you can learn more about the Kala project and helping people that need it. And I thank you guys so much. It was a fantastic talk, and I can't wait to learn more and do more with you. So with that, thank you everybody for tuning in. And
thank you very much.
Your day.
Thank you. Take care, everyone.